Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing today? I hope we are doing absolutely fantastic. Welcome to Caffeinate, which is my morning show right here on twitch.tv. I'm your host, Samuel Adams. I hope you are having a fantastic start of your Monday. And of course, welcome again to Caffeinate, which is a show right here on twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams every single weekday morning at 6 a.m. where I go through the top video game news of the previous day, or in the case of Monday, the previous weekend, because as we all know, we're just now getting started. It's going to be a fantastic week full of what I consider to be some amazing stories, which is pretty impressive because there were some pretty significant changes over the weekend that we're going to be talking about, including one addition that I will be throwing in the middle of the show. But I hope you guys had a fantastic weekend. I wanted to share a little bit about my tie here, all right, because I'm very proud of the tie. This is my internet tie. I got it for my birthday. I'm 21 now. Turn up. So right here, you've got some CDs, the net. We've got a ton of stuff going on with this tie right here. We have a pie chart on a very old desktop. This is the tie that you need whenever you're doing a morning show on the internet. It is fantastic. I highly recommend that anybody doing an early morning gaming nerd-ass show should probably get one of these. But without further ado, I figure we would go ahead and dive right in to the first thing that I wanted to talk about today, which is actually a trailer, surprisingly enough. So let's go ahead and dive into it. This is called The American Dream, and I'm just going to sit back and let you guys check it out. As a matter of fact, we're going all in on this.
We'll be going on a trip through time to discover the magnificent future that lies ahead with you and your guns. Soon you'll learn just how guns will be able to help you live life to the fullest. Good job, kiddo. Welcome to the American Dream.
Right there, that right there, okay. I wanted to go ahead and start off with that because this is a game that I was considering discussing on the drop. This is called The American Dream. I would assume that it's made by Samurai Punk. Yes, follow development at twitter.com/SamuraiPunkCo. And this game is incredibly interesting to me because it is such a unique piece of social commentary and borderline art, I would say. Now, I didn't put it into the drop because I figured that it might be a bit of a controversial one. Number one, because I rarely cover VR games. Number two, because of what's been going on in the news recently with shootings that have been happening in the public and whatnot, and we won't dive too deep into that. But the American Dream itself, it looks like a genuinely fun game. I mean, taking all of the politics outside of it, the gunplay looks pretty fun. It looks like it's a unique idea. It looks fun overall, and so with all these elements being taken into consideration, I figure that if Samurai Punk can pull off a genuinely quality game, that the social commentary is actually going to be in pretty good taste, I would say. I mean, this is just hilarious. Like the kid that is learning how to do math by simply shooting the correct answer on a board that's held up by this kind of Nuketown-esque image of his mother. That's a genius idea, just absolutely fantastic. Also, the dog over here on the far right kind of creeping me out a bit, I'm not even going to lie. With that being said, loving the overall vibe of this. If you wanted to check out Samurai Punk Co., again, this is pretty much what they've got going on. I'm going to give them a follow right now because it seems like it's a pretty good idea. They have a Discord server. It looks like they're pretty interactive. You know, I'm over here judging their Twitter page live on a Twitch stream. We'll see what happens with that. But, you know, whatever it may be. Yo, Randy Sewage, how's it going? I love you, Dad. Gotta go to school, but I love you, and that's all that matters. Little slut. Hey, welcome. Hope you have a fantastic day. Anyways, checking out the Samurai Punk game, The American Dream. Sounds like a pretty good idea. I would give it a shot if you have a PlayStation VR, Oculus Touch, or HTC Vive. But that one is coming out this week, and I figure that we'll go ahead and move right along to the next story that we've got. PUBG gets a brand new map, emotes, and more soon on PC. PlayerUnknown lays out the development roadmap for 2018, updated by Kevin Knezovic on March 9th, 2018. I figure we'll go ahead and roll through this. Some big changes are on the way to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and a new blog post on the official PUBG website, game creator Brendan PlayerUnknown Green laid out development roadmap for what new features and content PUBG Corp will add to the game in the coming months, including a new map and emote system. In the post, Green announced that the development team is committing to a major content delivery cycle every single 2 months. There was no single there, not sure why I added it, the first of which is slated to arrive sometime in March. Each of these major updates will bring changes to specific systems and or introduce new content, Green said. He also reiterated that smaller updates will continue to roll out regularly between major content drops. One of the big pieces of content is a new island map, which players will be able to try on PUBG's new experimental test server next month. This island is much smaller than the game's current 2 maps, which Green says should give you more intense and faster-paced Battle Royale experience. Now this is what I want to focus on here. Yo, Tiff, how's it going? Visor, how is it? How is it going? This right here is a genius idea because this is what you need to be able to compete with something like Fortnite. I'm not really sure what that says. This is not my language. I'm sorry. I'm not sure. If it's blasphemy or something like that, I apologize in advance. Anyways, this right here is what will compete with Fortnite. This is fantastic. This is a genius idea. That's the main issue with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds at its current state, is that you have a map that is too big and the game lasts too long as compared to something like Fortnite. And so when you shrink down the size of the map to something that is simply a 4x4 grid, that will definitely speed up the process of getting through an entire match. That will definitely speed up the action itself, the gameplay overall, and hopefully if they continue to have a pretty dense layout of weapons that can be found on the map, then you're not going to have anything lost with this shrinkage, so to speak, because who likes shrinkage when it comes down to it? With an emote system that's also competing with Fortnite. So essentially, the entirety of the future of PUBG has been shifted, and I feel like this map has really been pushed out ASAP to compete directly with what Fortnite has going on. Visor, I'm sorry, man. I don't speak. I think it's Russian. I'm not sure, man. Comrade, I apologize. Yo, Caution, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. So with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I feel like the future of it is going to be pretty interesting when it comes down to it. I wanted to go ahead and show you guys a comparison between what we've got going on with PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds as compared to what we have going on with Fortnite right now. So if you go to browse on Twitch and you go to games, you have at 6 o'clock in the morning 78,954 people watching Fortnite right here in the top left corner. That is as compared to PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, which has 37,121. That right there is not anything that I would have ever predicted when this game came out in the middle of last year, or at least it entered into early access, because this was never supposed to happen. Fortnite was never supposed to be the Frankenstein that it is today. Fortnite was originally going to be pretty much just the PvE, as we all know. Nice tie, appreciate it, man. I'm digging the internet tie. It's very nice. But it was only supposed to be PvE. You were supposed to do the save the world thing, and that was essentially it. But with the addition of the Battle Royale mode, this completely and totally changed the way that the game functioned. This completely and totally changed the course of the game. To the point that it actually breathed new life into what you have going on within something like Fortnite, where it was going to die. The game would not have lasted long whatsoever. In fact, I would say that if it had not introduced the Battle Royale mode, this game probably would have never even made it out of early access. It probably would have been canceled. So with that being said, this summer is going to be a very interesting time with a brand new mobile port of Fortnite launching, and with all of this success, PUBG has to work to catch up and figure out what they are doing and try and figure out their place in the Battle Royale scene. And so with these new additions, like the new map, new emotes, a whole bunch of new stuff coming to the PC version of the game, that is going to be interesting. There was also an update for the future of the Xbox One version of the game, which did detail and reveal that the desert map is going to be coming in the next couple of weeks to the Xbox One. I believe weeks or months, one of the two. Don't quote me on that one. That's not the story that I chose, so I'm not really prepared to talk about that one. But Xbox One is getting an update. PC is getting an update. It's nice to see stuff rolling out. But if the game is going to survive in the long run, if PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is going to become something that is continuing to be substantial for the next couple of years, they are going to have to grow, they're going to have to evolve, and they're going to have to figure what in the hell they're doing as compared to something like your Fortnite. Because, it's crazy to say, I never thought that I would say this, but PUBG could very well end up in the same way that H1Z1 has ended up, where it has to go free to play to even have a meager chance of survival against something that is brand new, and this same thing could happen to Fortnite in the next 6 to 8 months. The gaming industry changes day to day, week to week, month to month, even sometimes hour to hour, depending on what content is rolling out and what people are interested in. It is a cutthroat kind of industry, and regardless of the success of your game, you are going to have a difficult time if you don't listen to your community, if you don't do exactly the right steps to get to success. You are going to be having an interesting time. Let me tell you that right now, and that's what we're seeing right now with PUBG. So for 2018, it's going to be very interesting to see if it does end up panning out for the game overall, but I suppose it's going to be one that you sit back and watch, and it will either go incredibly well with the addition of this new map when it comes out later in the year, or the entire game could crash and burn. So. But I do want to take this time to thank you for watching this morning. If you are watching later on the VOD on YouTube and or Twitch, thanks for taking the time to check out the content that I'm bringing to the table. I'm enjoying doing the live content. I'm enjoying getting up, looking nice for all of you fine people, and creating something that I've never done before. So for those that are taking the time to check this out, I appreciate it. Again, if it's in VOD form, you can follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/TheSamuelAdams. You can follow me on YouTube, youtube.com/SamuelAdamsMedia. Twitter should be popping up over on that side, and Instagram stories, etc. Enough about me. Moving on to the next story. Now, on Friday, I actually covered the video game violence discussion a bit by showing the video that Trump actually showed during a White House pretty much powwow with some of the industry's leaders in the gaming industry. And so I mentioned a study that was talking about a Psychologist study where they found some revealing information about school shooters and video games, or shooters in general. So, moving on, this is an article from WCCF Tech, but I also saw it shared on CBS News, I believe. And they say, Psychologist says 80% of school shooters don't have any interest in video games, by Alicio Palombo. What a name that one is. What a name that one is. With the recent meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump had with key game industry executives, such as Take-Two and ZeniMax CEOs, the media spotlight is sadly once again focusing on school shooters and their purported indoctrination to violence by video games. What's perhaps even more troublesome is that these conversations seldom, if ever, include researchers and scientists. For instance, psychologist Patrick Markey, professor at the Villanova University, has been looking into this specific issue for years now, and not just for video games. Here's a 2014 paper on violent movies and severe acts of violence. Not going to be clicking on that link. Thank you for that additional information. In another 2014 paper, more information, etc., 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 etc. There's some graphs for you. You can go online. The link will be in the description box down below. But essentially, this is what we've got right here. This is the key. This is what's important. 80% of school shooters don't have any interest in video games, according to psychologists. So this has been a story that has been backed up multiple times. This is not something that is just being thrown out there. There is genuine evidence that there is no connection, or at least a little connection, to any kind of video game violence and real-life violence. I feel like the issue should be focused more on the kind of safety precautions we have into place into who can buy specific kinds of weapons, when you can bring a specific kind of weapon out in public. I feel like there are solutions that have not yet been tapped, and I'm not the man to give those because I'm not a professional on the subject whatsoever when it comes down to it. But to push the blame on the media, to push the blame on movies and on books and on violent TV shows and on violent video games, that's just scapegoating. There's nothing that is benefited by doing that. There is nothing that is bettered by going ahead and pushing the blame onto something else. When it comes down to it, the system is broken and humanity itself is kind of in a shitty position right now. And so whenever you give people access to weapons because it's a freedom that has been built into the Constitution, it's a very difficult and dangerous situation that is often presented. Now, this is a controversial subject, of course. You know, if you are a political individual, I try and not, touch on these kind of subjects because I don't want to ruffle any feathers. We're all generally on the internet to enjoy, the day, to have a good time, to play some games and not really get riled up over anything. But when it comes down to it, it's a discussion that we are going to have. It's a discussion that I may, in fact, have on the channel more and more, whether it be on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, whatever it may be. But it's one that, as I said, is going to have to be had. But it's very interesting to see that more and more studies are showing that the media does not impact violence, or at least violence in people, as much as we thought that it originally did. So with that being said, I suppose we will go ahead and move on to the next story, which is, in fact, about Twitch itself. So for those watching right now, this is going to be very interesting for you. This is a tweet by @ScrivoSRL, and they said, "Hey at Twitch, I know for a fact this particular streamer would never want you to spam people to try and get them to resub. This is crap. Don't do this. Your partner should need to opt into this. You should never do this sort of spam on their behalf." And this, my friends, this is a shitty way of doing business. I want to make it very clear. If you own a company, if you run anything, if you have any kind of money exchanging hands, never guilt trip somebody into buying anything. That is not how you build a connection with anyone. If you're listening from Twitch right now, by any stretch of the imagination, this is wrong. Take this away. If somebody opts into this, I don't know what they are thinking. I want to make that very clear. But the email pretty much reads this: resubscribe to whatever it may be's channel. If it's mine, if it's somebody else's, whatever it may be. Hey Scrivo, real talk for a second. Support from subscribers like you is a huge part of why Twitch creators are able to do what they love. If you enjoy being a part of what makes whoever's community great, please consider resubscribing. This is wrong. I mean, that's just simply what it comes down to. Sorry, I had to wet the whistle. You know what I'm saying? Had to get a little bit of a, wetness back in there. But with resubscribing to this channel, it is supporting the streamer. They are not wrong. It is genuinely part of what makes somebody able to do Twitch full time. But nobody should ever feel a compulsory decision to go ahead and resub to something just because they feel like they should be supporting the streamer, or even if they don't have the money. You see what I'm saying? There are circumstances that are presented in many people's lives where they can't resub to a channel. They can't, financially support through donations or bits or anything, and they just need a form of escape. They just need a form of entertainment. There are a ton of different little scenarios that can definitely impact how somebody enjoys and takes in a Twitch stream. And so to send this, urging somebody to resubscribe, they may have only had a couple of bucks that month to go ahead and subscribe for 1 month and support their favorite creator in some way, shape, or form. To push this and urge them to do this every single month and to send this email, and if they send follow-up emails, that's not how you do business. Yo, caution, what's happening? I'm back, got my coffee, and yeah, the Twitch email is bulk. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I agree completely. Never do this, and that's what I always say. I always make it a very clear point. I make it a very clear point whenever anybody gives me bits, donations, anything along those lines. If you give me anything, number one, it is going back into the stream 100%. Every bit of money that I get from Twitch goes right back into improving the setup, improving the quality. It's why I got the cam link to get this better camera setup. It's why I'm able to go to TwitchCon this coming year, for the October event, which is going to be incredibly fun. Hope to meet an amazing amount of people that I've been watching for years and also that have been watching me for a while as well. But the other thing is that no one ever has to support me financially. I can do this. I can make this happen. It's always nice to have that additional push of support to push the quality of the content to a new level, but I never feel like anybody should give me money for anything. I never feel like anybody has to. No one ever has to give me any kind of bits, chips, donations, sparks if you're on Mixer, whatever it may be. Wait, that's not actually a thing. No one ever has to do that. And so to have this kind of email, to have this kind of thing floating around out there, this is wrong, and this is giving Twitch a bad name. But the cool thing, I will say this, the cool thing about Twitch is that generally, I don't know how they'll do in this specific circumstance, they pretty much listen to what their people are saying. They listen to those that use their platform, and they genuinely do care about what their community has and the feedback that they do tend to get. And so I would not be surprised if this ended up, changing the way that Twitch does their emails from here on out. I wouldn't be surprised if we never saw something like this again, because again, this is a very shitty kind of situation. My question here is, if Twitch hadn't been bought out by Amazon, if Twitch wasn't owned by Amazon, would this be a thing? Is this something that's being invented by the corporate side of Twitch? Is this something that is being invented by the Amazon side of Twitch? If you understand my drift, if you're catching what I'm throwing down, if you're spreading the peanut butter, if you're licking the alpaca, you know what I'm saying? If you are understanding my drift, I think I've already said that one. Anyways, when it comes down to it, this is wrong. I'm just rambling. So hopefully this will never happen again. There have been a lot of retweets, a lot of likes. Let's see who liked something on my notifications. Let's see what we've got. Let's check Twitter. This is a Twitter stream now. Steve Banks. Hey, Steve Banks. Shout out to you, my man. 24 from Philadelphia. What's up? Follow me on Twitch for amazing gameplay, chill streams, and the occasional rage from yours truly. You never know what's going to happen when you follow me on Twitter. You might get a shout out on the stream, which is going to become a YouTube video. Who knows, man? Who knows? Moving right along. Spielberg's Ready Player One is an instant sci-fi masterpiece. Now this, before we even dive in to the masterpiece that is this article, because it's incredibly well written. It's by Charlie Frank. You can check him out on Twitter. I saw him earlier. I am so glad to hear this, because I was genuinely concerned about the well-being of this game. I'm not even going to lie. This is something that I was a bit worried about. Whenever the book hit my Kindle a couple of years back, because I did download it, and that was a really strange way to say that, I loved it. I fell in love with the way that the story was presented. Of course, there are very few books that do video games well. There are very few books that could pull off what is pulled off within Ready Player One, and so whenever I read it and really did enjoy it, and I heard that there was a movie coming out, I was a little bit hesitant, but I was hesitant with a good dash of excitement there. And so the general first reactions from the first screening of Ready Player One are incredibly positive. People absolutely love this game, and it very well could have gone the other way. I do feel like there are a couple of elements of success here that really did push Ready Player One to new heights. And of course, you know, as Metacritic continues to evolve and more people give their 2 cents on it, it might change. But I feel like Steven Spielberg was a perfect choice for this kind of movie. I feel like the inclusion of so many genuinely real-life pop culture references within the movie itself, that is going to be something that drives it to new heights. Because if you had had fake brands, if you had had fake elements that were brought in to you know, change the way that people saw the game, or change the way that people saw the movie, like if you had you know, Poopsie instead of Pepsi or whatever it may be, or Prongles instead of Pringles, I feel like that might have been a different kind of receptor, so to speak, if you understand what I'm saying. And so with all of these deals coming in, not only did it drive sales through the roof, whenever it comes to things that were shared within the movie, like reaching out to companies and having their products included within the movie. But I feel like more people are going to be able to relate to that. And so with all of this being taken into account, I feel like that's what drove it to success. But now let's check out what we've got going on with the article itself. Reality is the only place you get a decent meal. Ready Player One. South by Southwest, Austin, Texas, Monday, March 12th, 2018, 3 a.m. An Australian rugby team played a match Fortnite style 3v3 v3v3 using emo dances. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. But March 12th, 2018, 3 a.m. Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg, is a great movie. A great big lovable mess of a movie. I laughed. I cried. I folded my arms in consternation. I cheered when the 2D bad guys got what was coming to them. This movie will be revered by science fiction fans for generations. If you are not one of us, well, you've been warned. As for this elder nerd, I'm crying with joy as I write this. Do you know how good this is? This is genuine quality writing. Though the plot holes are large enough for the Iron Giant to walk through, Ready Player One left me a wobbly, sniffling mess for reasons personal and professional. It is a love letter to video games and our collective and often misguided tech fantasies, but more than anything, it is, like all of Steven Spielberg's best films, a love letter to movies. God, what a sentence. My man here, what's his name? Charlie Fink. Oh, God, yes. And also, this is a great image right here as well. Now, the caveats. You might want to skip ahead. These will probably be longer than... Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. Regardless, when it comes down to it, you can go read the rest of this. I don't want to get too far into it. But the posters, the promotional content, everything about this movie is just... I'm digging it so far. And so with that being said, I wanted to show you guys the trailer. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll be back in just a sec.
I picked that name because it sounded like a superhero's alter ego. Like Peter Parker or Bruce Banner. But he died when I was a kid. My mom, too. And I ended up here. Sitting here in my tiny corner of nowhere. There's nowhere left to go. Nowhere. Except the Oasis. A whole virtual universe.
Let me take you on a trip. Around the world and back.
People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do.
And you won't have to wait, sit still.
But they stay because of all the things they can be.
Can you feel this?
Let me show you the world.
Yeah. It's the only place that feels like I mean anything. The The Oasis was the brainchild of James Halliday.
Hello. If you're watching this, I'm dead. I created a hidden object, an Easter egg. The first person to find the egg will inherit $500 billion and total control of the Oasis itself.
Who is this Parzival, and how the hell is he winning?
Find him.
This isn't just a game. I'm talking about actual life and death stuff.
The Oasis, the world's most important economic resource. And it's nothing less than a war for control of the future.
Welcome to the rebellion, Wade.
Like many of you, I only came here to escape. But I found something much bigger than just myself. Are you willing to fight?
Help us save the Oasis.
And so with that being said, I mean, with that trailer, I don't know how it could be any better. That is such an incredible looking trailer. I'm even going to give that a like right now because I didn't do it to begin with. When it comes to virtual reality and how it is presented, you did see Tracer. Tracer is in there. There are so many pop culture references. You are going to be mind boggled if that's a phrase. Also, I love the inclusion of Van Halen as well. But I love the way this is presented. This is going to present virtual reality in a light that has not been presented to the general public, because I feel like this is a movie that isn't just catering to the nerdy people. This isn't a movie that is catering just to the niche audience. This is genuinely one that is pretty much spread out to where anybody can enjoy it in the same way that somebody can watch Tron and really get a lot out of it and really dig that kind of experience. I feel like that's kind of where this in general is trending. And so, I'm going to be seeing Ready Player One. I think I might have a free pass to see it on a Tuesday, but I might have class, so we'll have to see how that goes. But I'm definitely going to be seeing this one, probably in theaters, I would say, and I don't really do that very often. But considering that I loved the book so much, considering that it's getting such a critical acclaim right out of the gate, I feel compelled to give this one a shot and support this movie because I want to see more stuff like this, and I want to see more of these kind of movies come into the limelight that really do paint gaming in a more positive light, as compared to something that is making it look bad, like the like whenever you have these kind of discussions about gun control and things like that, because games are fantastic. Games are a foundational part of what makes society great, I would say, and what really provides a sense of community in a modern world that is so focused on technology. I mean, the connection that I have to my people in my Discord and the people that come to my stream every night and the people that check out my YouTube content and interact with me on Twitter, it's amazing. It truly is. And so I feel like there are so many benefits here, and a movie like this promotes that kind of world to the general public and makes it feel inviting, makes it feel welcoming, because it is. It genuinely is. And so that's kind of where I stand with Ready Player One. I'm super excited to see where it ends up going. But with that being said, let's move on to the second from final discussion that we're having this morning. Bluepoint's next game is another remake, and it's bigger in scope than Shadow of the Colossus. This is an article on Eurogamer by Richard Ledbetter. Bluepoint Games has confirmed that its next project is in the wake of the stunning Shadow of Colossus for PlayStation 4 is a new remake. Let me try that entire sentence over again. Bluepoint Games has confirmed that its next project in the wake of the stunning Shadow of the Colossus for PlayStation 4 is a new remake. Digital Foundry had the opportunity to talk with the team. There's a link right here about the technology powering its latest release and asked whether the expanded art team brought on for the project would be deployed next on an original game. They said, and I quote, "Well, we could, but we're doing another remake," replied Bluepoint's president and co-owner Marco Thrush. This project served us as a great point of growing the art team to the point where we can take on a full AAA game, major scope of the art content. I'm going to zoom into this because my eyesight is the equivalent of an old man. My God, it has gotten so bad. This project served us as a great point of growing the art team to the point where we can take on a full AAA game, major scope of art content. So now our next step is let's improve the art pipeline, let's improve the engine, let's improve workflow for artists, let's grow on the art side, some more to handle our next project because it's a bit bigger. And our next focus is, alright, let's work on design, add new stuff. This is a weird way to state all this stuff. Anyways, when it comes down to it, Bluepoint's next game is another remake. Now the question is, what remake is it going to be? Obviously, they work a lot with PlayStation, so it's probably going to be something along those lines. I'm trying to think of another legendary game that really is foundational for the PlayStation brand overall, because I would assume it's going to be a PS4 or even a PlayStation 5 exclusive, depending on how far out that console is. And when I'm thinking about major games like that, I would first think Ico. You know, because you have Ico and the Shadow of the Colossus. I'm not sure about the comparison between the sizes of those two games, because as they said in the article, it is going to be a game that is bigger in scale as compared to Shadow of the Colossus, and that, my friends, is a very large game. So if anybody has any kind of ideas, you can drop them in the chat. You can hit me up on Twitter at PrettyChillGuy, slide into my DMs at Samuel Adams Media if you want to talk about that, and also leave a comment on the video below if you have any idea of what that might be. But it's incredibly interesting to see Bluepoint focusing on trying yet another remake, but at the same time throwing around the idea of having something that is a brand new IP from Bluepoint. That's really a unique idea, I think. I would love to see what they're capable of. But as somebody said in, I believe it was in the, not NeoGAF, but probably N4G comments, News for Gamers, I really want to see Bluepoint acquired by Sony. I want to see Bluepoint become part of the PlayStation ecosystem, because these guys, if you want a remake done correctly, then Bluepoint is the company to do it with. If you want a remake that is going to cater to what fans want, Bluepoint seems to be the one that you go to. I mean, they did the Nathan Drake collection, which is a fantastic representation of those original Uncharted games. They did Shadow of the Colossus, which is a very well-revered game. I would love to see how they go whenever they do a brand new IP. Valve is making games again, so do you think we'll see continuations, remakes, or new games? Valve is going to have to make new games. There is nothing that really needs to be remade from Valve because everything has been scaled up so nicely. As a side note, I would say that it's not going to be Half-Life 3 as much as people want it. I feel like it's going to be a brand new idea, because when it comes down to it, I mean, we have a company right here with Bluepoint making more and more remakes of old games, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But when it comes down to pushing the industry forward, creating the next generation of games that are going to be appealing to a mass audience, there is going to have to be innovation. There are going to have to be new ideas presented. And so I feel like there are going to have to be a lot more significant games that come out that push the industry forward to a new level of quality, to a new level of expectation, that aren't simply remakes and prettied up versions of games that were hits back in the day. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love the idea of having these enhanced editions, the ultimate editions, the what was it called? The Bulletstorm's Definitive Edition. What was it called? Hold on. Bulletstorm Full Clip Edition, that's what it was. I loved Bulletstorm so much. I absolutely loved Bulletstorm. Don't even mince my words. It was a fantastic game. But with that being said, do we need this? Do I actually need...
Rated M for mature.
Do I need... Hold on. There it is. Do I need to see this game remade? Because it was already really nice, and it was a standout title for the Xbox 360/PlayStation 3 generation. We didn't need this. It's great, but we didn't need it, you know? And so that's why it's interesting to me when it comes down to... Wow, that did not get many likes whatsoever. Is this the official? Is this the official? Wow, okay, all right. Yeah, see, and then people are doing this stuff where they're responding to this very well. They are showing what they think about this kind of setup. And with that, I suppose we'll go back to this. People Can Fly is a good company. People Can Fly is a great company. I agree. They are doing some amazing things over there, I would say. But with Bluepoint, I would love to see them remake another PlayStation classic. Even if they worked with Xbox, I could see them doing incredible things to make the Master Chief Collection better. I don't know what kind of contract they have with Sony, but the Master Chief Collection needs a lot of work. I know that Microsoft has said they're going to be working on it. I know that Microsoft has said they're going to be improving it a lot over the next couple of years, mainly because of Gears of War. Did People Can Fly do Gears of War? Gears of War Judgment. Huh. Had no idea. How about that? Yeah, you love Gears, man. You love Gears. But yeah, I would love to see them work on the Halo Master Chief Collection. I would love to see Bluepoint do that. But with that being said, who knows if that's actually going to happen. And I did want to throw in one additional story that I did not throw in to the final conglomeration of stories that I am going to be showing. But let's go ahead and take this from IGN, because why not? Because why not? And here we go, ladies and gents. The Last of Us creative director Neil Druckmann promoted to vice president of Naughty Dog. Neil Druckmann has been promoted to vice president of Naughty Dog, as the first sentence says, as written by Alex Osborne. I almost pronounced that name incorrectly for some reason because it's such a difficult name. In recognition of his expanded role contributing on critical studio-level decisions, Neil Druckmann is now vice president of Naughty Dog. Studio president Evan Wells said in a post on the developer's official blog, "He's been a vital part of the management team for some time now, and we're proud to formally acknowledge his involvement." Wells also confirmed that Druckmann will continue to serve as creative director on The Last of Us Part 2. Additionally, Naughty Dog announced that Anthony Newman and Kurt Marginal, I'm so bad with names. Naughty Dog, haven't heard that name in a while, true. Both Kurt and Anthony joined Naughty Dog during Uncharted 2 and have been instrumental in leading the design department and have been key contributors on our subsequent games. Wells said, rounding out the leadership team of Naughty Dog's decision department are lead designers Amelia Schatz and Richard Cambier. Last month at DICE Summit 2018, Druckmann spoke with 10 Cloverfield Lane director Tad Trachtenberg, yes, about his inspiration for The Last of Us Part 2, content cut from Uncharted 4, and the possibility of Naughty Dog making a non-third-person game sometime in the future. Watch the video below for their full conversation. No, I'm good, thanks. But yo, Alex Osborne, shout out to this man right here, freelance writer on the grind. Freelance writer on the grind out here, doing the Lord's work, so to speak. Doing the Lord's work out here, posting the hype toad gif. Fantastic stuff, fantastic stuff. But with that being said, Neil Druckmann promoted to president of Naughty Dog, or vice president of Naughty Dog. That's a good move, because Neil Druckmann is eventually going to grow, I feel personally, to be the face of the company. I think that Neil Druckmann has a lot of talent. I feel that Neil Druckmann has been on the cutting edge of talking about what is going on behind the scenes, talking about how the game development is going, and he's truly a fantastic person to promote to vice president, and I could eventually see him becoming president. Every interview that I've ever seen with Druckmann, every podcast that I've seen Druckmann be on, he has been nothing but genuine with the people that watch. He has been nothing but genuine with the people that are having the interview with him, and he's very transparent about what's going on. Of course, you know, you can be as transparent as you want to be. Some people will say that there are a lot of exaggerations mixed in there. Some people will say that there are a lot of, you know, behind-the-scenes things that aren't going to be coming out into the limelight. And so Neil Druckmann has, at least in my eyes, been somebody that steps outside of the current day and time and what's going on, and he genuinely builds connections with the audience that plays Naughty Dog games. So the promotion to vice president, I feel, is a fantastic addition to what they've got going on over there at Naughty Dog, and I would love to see this kind of trend continue. And so I have nothing but praise for the man. I hope that he does very well. You can, in fact, follow him on Twitter. Let's see, Neil Druckmann right here. Yes, he looks very, very gnarly in this picture that's right above my head, but the man is doing fantastic stuff over there at Naughty Dog, promoting International Women's Day, cool stuff right there. You know, he's a good dude. So give him a follow over there if you want to keep up to date with the development of what they've got going on with The Last of Us Part 2. And so, with that being said, I believe that wraps up this week's, because I'm so used to making YouTube content. That wraps up this day's episode of Caffeinate. If you guys enjoyed the video or the stream, go ahead and follow me on Twitter at PrettyChillGuy, Instagram.com/SamuelAdamsMedia. You can follow me over there and keep up to date with what I've been making, what I've been doing, the videos that come out, stay up to date on YouTube, all that good stuff. Naughty Dog made Just Cause, so that's good. Whoa, my friend, whoa. Whoa. Let's back up there. No, they did not. Did they? No way. No. No, they didn't. Just Cause was developed by Square Enix and Eidos Interactive and Avalanche Studios. Yes. I was getting ready to say, like, what? No way, really? No, I didn't think so. But yeah. But now Just Cause, another game that could be very well remastered by Bluepoint. Mix the two up, no worries, man, no worries. How? Square Enix and Naughty Dog? I didn't even mix that up, my man. But anyways, back to what we were saying. I hope you guys have enjoyed the stream, and if you're watching the video later, thanks for checking it out. I hope you have a fantastic day. I will talk to you tomorrow at 6 a.m., and actually right after this live stream, I'm going to be going live again, just for an IRL stream, maybe playing a couple of games, sipping some coffee, having a good time, because I ended a little bit earlier than I thought that I would, because as you know, the news that happens over the weekend, it tends to not be as, how do you say, deep as compared to what happens in the week. So stay tuned if you want to hang out for a bit. I will be going live in just a couple of seconds again, and we will deal with that. So I'll see you soon. And again, thank you for watching.